Hey everybody, welcome to Drunkard's Walk, a podcast. That's right, you're listening to a podcast right now. It's not the radio. You're not just listening to the audio of some old VHS tape that you had buried in your basement somewhere. No, this is a podcast coming to you straight from the internet in digital format. My name's Matt Hartman. I'm one of your hosts, and the other host is, of course, Jethro and Alon.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Matt, for clarifying that this is, in fact, a podcast, because I know it's a great cause of confusion for all of our listeners right at the top. After they've hit play on whatever podcast app they're on, they're like, wait a minute, what are these sounds coming into my ears?
That's right. That's right. A lot of people get confused by that. And I feel like if I were to just assume that everybody knew, that's being presumptuous. That is the definition of presumptuous right there.
In fact, I think you didn't go quite far enough in listing possible sounds it might have been, but it's not them. Like you could have said it's not an Edison wax coil that has been it's not the spirit of the deceased whispering to you from the great beyond. Wow. It is. There's so many things that it's not that I feel like you could have gone much further.
That's a good point. It's an excellent point that you make, and I will try to up my game for the future. That's about the best I can tell you.
Greatly appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure. Well, for those of you that have never listened to our podcast before, thanks for joining us here midway through season 5. We appreciate that. And we are we took this task on. I'm not sure if it's Herculean, but I mean, it's definitely a difficult task. We take a topic, just a random topic, and we try to get to another random topic in Wikipedia by only using the links on the pages. Oh, it sounds insane, but we've found a way to make it, would we say fun, Jethro?
Oh, it's fun. Believe me, we would not have made it 5 seasons in if this weren't fun.
No.
You, the dear listener, would not have made it this far in.
That's right.
If it weren't fun. It's so fun.
Yeah.
I mean, it's as fun as only sound in your ears can be.
That's right. That's right. Now, I did just acknowledge that I was explaining this to the people who had never listened before. So they may have made it this far if it wasn't fun. If this is their first episode.
Well, good on you for making it to us on the first episode. And trust me, I'm going to go so far as to say a double your money back guarantee if you don't like this episode.
Oh, Jethro, gosh, I don't know if you should be. We don't make that much money on this. I don't think it's a good idea to. I'm willing to, you know what, triple your money back. We do have one patron. She is going to be demanding money pretty soon. You better watch yourself.
She wouldn't be a patron if she didn't like it. Come on.
I guess that's true. I guess that's a good point. All right, that's a good point. Well, you know what else is an excellent point that I haven't even made yet is that while we get these random topics, where do they come from, Jethro?
I'm presumably sent down by aliens, I would think.
No. It's a good guess, but it's not a correct guess. Instead, we get them from listeners and friends and people who have come into our lives and touched our hearts in a way that is difficult to describe with words. But that's the only thing I can do on a podcast. So I can't I can't paint a picture or anything like that.
You could do song. You could make whale noises.
These are good ideas.
Words of a sort.
Yeah. They're words. They're kind of words.
There are a lot of sounds that are possible.
That's right. There are.
But you mentioned guests and such providing these. Do we have a guest coming on the podcast today?
Well, as a matter of fact, we do, Jethro, and it is a return guest. And so if you're trying to guess who it's going to be, listener, go ahead and think of it in your head right now. And if you don't want to know, spoilers are coming, so you're going to have to fast forward. Here it comes. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Mercy Odhner. There she is. Mercy, how you doing?
I'm well. Thank you so much for having me again.
Well, thank you for coming back.
Yes, we appreciate you returning and being back on the cast. Now, you were on, I want to say season 1, season 2? It was early.
Season 2, I think.
Okay, season 2. And what was the topic? Do you recall that you gave us back then?
Recursion.
Oh, recursion. That's right. We're back to it. So we've come all the way back around to recursion yet again. For those that didn't listen to that episode, join our Patreon, and you can. But yeah, that was a fantastic topic. We had a lot of fun with that, and it's always good to see you, Mercy. How have you been? How's it been over the past 3 seasons, or as we like to call it in the real world, year-ish?
I've been great. Yeah. Just working a new job. Don't do as much recursion as I'd like day to day, but
Sure.
It comes up once in a while, which is enough, I think.
Okay.
So,
That's
I'm
good
happy.
to hear.
Yeah.
That's nice. What's your new job? What kind of job are you working?
I'm still a software developer, but I'm at PNC now.
Oh, wow.
Very nice.
So you're making the software so we can get our money.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Or hopefully making it so that other people can't get our money.
Yeah,
that's also a very good thing to do.
Those are the 2 big key features of a bank.
It is. That's right.
Giving you your money and preventing other people from getting your money.
Yep.
Do you work on both of those things, or one of them, or neither of them? What do you work on specifically?
Well, I work in the corporate side, which is way more boring, I'm sure, for most people that are like, I don't own a corporation, so I don't care.
Mm-hmm. I guess that's a good point.
But if you do own a corporation, I am working very hard every day to make sure that you can get your money and no one else gets your money.
Well, I've as a PNC customer, I say thank you for that. I greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, me too. I'm also a PNC customer. Well, this is great. I'm glad we all are sharing our bank information on our podcast. It's a great idea. Well, this is great that you're on here. Have you been doing any? We've met through the Arcade Comedy Theater, which of course people who listen to season 2 know, and anyone who listens to our show at all probably would have guessed. But have you been doing any comedy lately? Any improv or sketch or anything like that?
So yes, I wrote some sketches for a show this Saturday, the Multiverse.
Okay.
So that was just some sketch writing. And then as far as performing, I was Jethro was kind enough to have me at the Hootenanny earlier this month. Yes. That was
indeed
fun and rewarding.
It was a delight. You were wonderful, as always.
As were you. It was a fun show.
Well, thank you.
All right, you two. All right. Calm it down. Well, that's great. Now you said...
Sorry, were we too busy complimenting people who weren't you, Matt?
Oh, yeah, exactly. Pay more attention to me, you two. You said that you wrote for a sketch show for this Saturday. Unfortunately, this is coming out way after we record it. So
bummer.
But I'm sure that show, which was now about a month ago, almost exactly a month ago, this is coming out on the 30th of November. I'm sure it was fantastic. And if you can find it online, go look on YouTube or something. Perhaps it was recorded.
Yeah.
But there you go. So, well, thank you again for coming. And have you brought us another topic to go to?
I have.
And what is it?
It is called, so I was familiar with this concept, but I didn't know what it's called. I had to look it up. It's called a king cake. King cake, have you heard of?
I think so. You're going to have to say what it is first before I know for sure that it's the same thing I'm thinking of. Okay.
So just a quick background on my experience with a king cake. Well, actually, I'll tell you what it traditionally, there's a lot of different versions that I learned recently, but the main premise is that in one of the slices of the cake that they bake, there's a little figurine that represents baby Jesus Christ.
Yes.
And when you cut the cake, and whoever gets the slice of cake with the little figurine in it is blessed, or has to take the little figurine to church the next day, or there's all sorts of rules.
Okay.
Or they get a trip to the hospital because there's a plastic figurine in his
exactly.
and they choke on it.
Yeah. So my one experience, first and last with a king cake, was somebody they baked one, but they didn't want only one of us to win. So they put a little figurine in all 8 slices. Oh. And I guess these little figurines are supposed to be porcelain or something. But
yikes.
Yeah. But these were plastic, which was not a good idea. because they all half melted. So there was like some of us had like little figurines with melted heads. Some had pretty terrible.
Oh yeah.
So we all felt like we won.
Okay. Well, that's a good way to feel about that. Now, was this for any special occasion? Because I've heard that king cakes. My experience with king cakes are affiliated with Mardi Gras.
I think that's the most common, especially nowadays. I think I was served this cake around Christmas time.
Oh, okay.
But I guess it kind of floats around. So it's like but mostly, yeah, Mardi Gras.
Presumably near the Christian holidays.
Exactly.
One would expect.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Very, very rarely is there a king cake for Ramadan.
Yeah. Well, I didn't realize that the baby, like I've heard about the little baby figure. I didn't realize that it was representing Jesus. I didn't realize that was why. I mean, I guess that's why it's a king cake, right? That's why where the name comes from. I just thought there's like I remember learning about this in like high school French class, and they were like, yeah, the king cake and Mardi Gras, and they put a baby in it, and I was like, a baby in it? Why would they put a baby? And they didn't bother explaining to us. They were just like, let's move on to I don't know, conjugations. But that's fascinating. And so you've eaten one of these, but did you eat it even though it had the melted baby in it, or did you say thanks? But
I honestly can't remember. It was in high school, and I don't remember if I was like too polite to like, or if we all sort of freaked out and we're like, we're not eating that. I can't. All I remember was all the little figurines.
Wow.
I think the person that baked it, it's kind of coming back to me. I think she didn't want us to eat it. She was so disappointed that they had all melted. She was like, she threw it all away, I think.
Yeah.
Wow.
I can understand that.
That is the appropriate response. I mean, I'm a fussy eater, even with things that are normally considered food and not
melted babies
with melted plastic chunks floating around in them.
Do you know if there's a particular flavor to a king cake, or is it just it can be anything and just has to have a baby in it?
It tastes like Jesus.
I don't remember prior to reading about it, just to provide this topic. Okay. But it sounds like there's all different varieties. The one that's traditionally used for Mardi Gras did have some particular flavor, but I don't remember what the flavor was. More than that, it's the colors of Mardi Gras that really make it the king cake. Oh,
yeah. Right. Okay, that makes sense. The gold and green and purple mix there. Okay.
And like the shape, it looks like it's very often like a bundt cake shape.
Oh, okay.
And the one I had was a bundt cake shape as well.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I'm picturing a sheet cake for some reason, but that must be because maybe they brought one in for us and they were like, it's just to feed 100 people. So I don't know. Well, that's great. So the king cake, that'll be wow. Well, that'll be great. That'll be a fun one to try to get to, Jethro.
I agree.
Well, Mercy, thank you so much for this topic, and thank you again for coming back on the show. And hopefully, we will see you on stage and in person sometime again soon. I look forward to that. As soon as they vaccinate the children, which hopefully by the time people are listening to this, that's already occurred. I'm hoping, but we'll see. Right now, in my world, it has not. So I'm still waiting.
Well, thank you so much for having me, and best of luck getting from here to there.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mercy.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye.
All right, Jethro. So we are off to King Cake.
So we are.
And we are venturing there from another food.
We are indeed.
We're going from brisket to king cake, folks. If you didn't listen last week to our second part of the Wives episode, we were traveling to Brisket, and boy, oh boy, did the Nolans ever beat up on the Hartmans in that one. Wow. A score of 4-7, which, by the way, I know that we talked about this the week prior, but there was a real mistake made on the Hartmans' part, and I do want to apologize again for that, Jethro. We really did believe that Brisket Jewish dish was the same thing as we didn't know that there was a different page. But there was. So
I think we gotta start the friendship again from square one and slowly rebuild trust. Like it's a wound like this doesn't heal overnight,
sure,
Matt. And I think it's going to take some time before we're ready to love again.
But we haven't talked in like a week, so I figured we were probably good.
No, we've been doing other stuff that week. I feel like the healing of the rift between us is going to have to happen on air. Only during the podcast.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, that's great. That'll make for great listening.
It really will. And if you want to listen to the spin-off podcast of the Hartmans Nolans co-marriage counseling effort, that is a spin-off podcast that is only available for our platinum Patreon subscribers.
That's right. Yeah. Try to find our platinum tier. And if you can't, then you can't get there. So that's on you. So we're going for Brisket, but to be clear, it is just Brisket. That is the page name, Brisket. There's no qualifiers on that. But we're going from Brisket to King Cake. But the fact that we were at Brisket Jewish Dish probably does clue you into the fact that there's potentially some religious significance to brisket. So I'm not going to talk any more about that because we need to make our predictions as to how many steps it's going to take. But I wanted to make sure that what was in my head was in your head too, to try to do a little bit of healing, Jethro.
Absolutely. And I appreciate you addressing the elephant in the room. But before we start on our merry way, we've got to do two very important things. Number one is we got to guess. We got to write down our guesses.
Yeah, I just said that.
Record our predictions.
I just said that.
All right. I'm repeating it for emphasis because sometimes people need to hear it. And also, secondly, we have to check in about beverages here.
Oh, okay. Sure.
We have to talk about what we're drinking. So, Matt, are you having a beverage as we journey from one place to the other?
I am. As a matter of fact, I have, I've gone through all of the new, I don't have any new bourbons right now, which is fine because I have a lot of bottles of bourbon that are just partially droke. So I've gone.
Droke is correct.
I've gone back to an old favorite of mine, maybe my favorite bourbon. This is a Four Roses single barrel, and I enjoy it quite a bit. And I thought, let's if I gotta go back into something I've done before, let's go back to one that I love. So that is what I'm drinking out of my, of course, Drunkard's Walk etched glass. That is what I have tonight. How about you, sir? Are you enjoying a beverage of any kind?
I am. I'm going even further back, old school.
Yeah.
This is one of my favorite beverages. Yeah. I've enjoyed it quite a lot, basically since I was old enough to drink. Mm-hmm. I'm having water, which I believe is a key ingredient in most bourbons and wines.
It is in all bourbons and wines, actually. There's
refreshing.
Yet to be a dehydrated bourbon out there, but we're looking at you, Penelope. Bourbon,
or maybe that's a big market bourbon powder.
That's right. A little bit of.
It's like if you want the flavor of bourbon, but like the eating experience of like the old Lickamaid or Pixie Sticks.
Yeah, or maybe to sprinkle on like a potato. Sprinkle it on popcorn. How about take some ground beef and just make it bourbon flavored, right? Just mix in that flavoring.
I feel like any budding entrepreneurs listening to this podcast, we just want a 5% cut of total global sales, and that'll be fair.
That's all we need. All right, so we've discussed our beverages. Have you written down your prediction? Because I have.
I have, in fact, written down my prediction, and it's a stunner.
A stunner.
It is a stunner. You're going to be perplexed and amazed and
stunned, I would guess.
Eventually, you will be reconciled to the beauty and the truth of what I've written. And you will see the world in a new light.
Yikes.
Once my prediction has been revealed.
Mine is fine.
Well, we all have our perspectives on these things. Mm-hmm. So, Brisket, here we are.
We are
we've got to get to King Cake. Now, I will say that if we were at it, that technically King Cake is its own Jewish dish if Jesus is in there, because I don't know if you know this about Jesus.
Yeah.
He was Jewish.
That's correct. So there is that's true in a way. And
not in a way, it's true.
I don't know that we would consider it a Jewish dish though, because I think when we say Jewish dish, we mean a dish eaten by people who are Jewish or traditionally prepared for a Jewish meal. Like a Seder, perhaps. I don't know that there's a lot of brisket at a Seder, but my point is, I don't know that a king cake is popping up in a lot of Jewish celebrations. So that's the only reason I wouldn't consider it a Jewish dish in that regard. But I do see where you're coming from.
Okay, I appreciate it. Well, my definition of a Jewish dish is a dish made from
wrong
Jewish babies who are the savior of
weird and wrong.
humanity.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
According to legend.
Sure. According to legend, that's a good way of putting it. Now, I'm noticing that there are some things listed in here about the Jewish cooking. And there are some mentions of Rosh Hashanah and Passover and the Sabbath. Now, Passover is very closely related to, at least timeline-wise, to Easter, which then is related kind of to Mardi Gras, right? Because Ash Wednesday is the beginning of kind of the Advent season, and that's what leads into Easter. So I think that potentially there is a path through religion here, as I mentioned earlier.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I think that's absolutely true. In fact, we could obviously get there if we were to go a geographic route, but bore, snooze, who likes that? No one.
Not geographic. Yeah, because Germany's on here, and I think, and don't quote me on this, oh no, it's not. It's got to be French. King cake's got to be French. Never mind. I was going to say it might be German, but I think it's French.
Because you learned about it in high school French class?
Correct.
And New Orleans,
yes,
has a huge French. In fact, I believe that all of Louisiana named after King Louis.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
and highly influenced by French culture.
Yeah, highly.
So, let me ask you this then.
Sure.
We obviously have a religious route. Is there a culinary route that gets us there as well? I know that we're talking about brisket, which is a cut of beef here. Is there another thing that gets us into king cake through a place that we're already at?
Yeah, I was looking at that. I do see some mentions of marinating. I see pecan is on here. As a mention of a type of hardwood that is used to smoke. So it might be pecan. Yeah, it looks like this isn't talking about the nut. It's talking about the species of tree. So that's not as good. Because I was thinking pecan is the only thing I see on here that looks like it's kind of would be found in baking. The rest of this is all very meat oriented.
Yeah, but pecan, as it's more properly called
pecan,
by...
pecan.
Pecan.
Yeah, pecan. That's what I said.
No, but it's pronounced. I'm a Southerner, so
I know what you are.
Is all right. That sounds like an accusation. It is a tree from the South, which is why the Southern way of pronouncing it is more appropriate. It's quasi geographic to take us in there.
It is geographic to take us in there. Though.
All right.
If you want to go, if you're saying it because it's in the South, I think that is geographic.
Fair deuce, my friend.
Thank you.
So let's assume that we are going through the religious route. Was there a link specifically to Passover?
There is a link to Passover.
And where might she be?
She's under other variations is the topic heading, and then about 3-4 paragraphs down. In traditional Jewish cooking, brisket is most often braised as a pork roast, a pot roast, good Lord, especially as a holiday main course, usually served at Rosh Hashanah, Passover, and on the Sabbath.
Now, I know that the celebration of Passover and the celebration of the Lenten season and Easter are span similar times on the calendar. And forgive me, and this is a cause of great shame on my part, but it's been a long time since I've been an active Christian.
Sure.
Wasn't Jesus entering the city of Jerusalem for the reason of celebrating Passover when he was arrested by the Romans? Is that correct?
I believe that is the story. Yes. Okay,
fantastic. All right. Well, in that case, I think Passover is the way to go.
Okay. Well, let's do it then. Let's go to Passover.
All right. So this article is about the Jewish holiday. For other uses, see disambiguation.
Oh, I see. Okay. Well, I didn't realize there was a disambiguation for Passover, but I suppose there is. So
it could be like a bridge, a Passover.
Oh, I see. Well, it's capitalized though, so not sure about that, but maybe it's a possibility. Is a possibility. All right. So we have a lot of information here, a lot of religious information. So we've got a lot of religious figures noted here. We've got the Seder. I mentioned the Seder. So there you go. That's one of the things that's on here. Have you ever participated in a Seder?
I've not. A good friend, Aaron Tarnow, has a rather legendary celebration annually, I believe, for Passover, although I could be completely wrong about
correct.
that.
That's correct.
And he was famed for making a brisket, in fact,
yes.
at that event. And back in those days, I was not digging on the meats I am now. So since I've made my radical conversion to Matt, have I told you that I've been on the keto? Because I feel like that's a
keto,
a well-kept secret.
What's that? What's keto?
Keto. I exclusively eat meat.
It's
nothing else.
It's a diet of some kind. Oh gosh,
indeed,
no
it is.
idea. You've mentioned it once or twice. Yeah,
I've been meaning to make my way to Aaron Tarnow's house to have his delightful brisket, but it has not yet happened.
Yeah, well, and there you go. So clearly, I was wrong earlier. I said I don't know if there's a lot of brisket at Passover or at a Seder. Clearly, I am incorrect. I took part in a Seder as part of my confirmation class when I was in 9th grade, maybe in Sunday school. Part of our confirmation class, we prepared a Seder and invited friends and family to take part. So that's how I learned about it, which I think is a pretty progressive way of teaching about religion. I kind of dug that. So
that is I think that's a positive thing. And as people study religions, they should study more than just theirs.
Yes, exactly.
When I was going through confirmation classes as a young Methodist growing up in Texas, our treatment of Jewish tradition was a little less generous. We basically treated it like the Star Wars prequels, in that we knew it came before, but we just didn't talk about
about them. Sure. Yeah. Well, we didn't have a lot of that.
But now I'm an equal opportunity atheist. I disavow all faiths and creeds to the same degree.
Good for you. Good for you. You gotta treat everybody equally, I feel.
It makes me incredibly popular. People love to hear my opinions about how there is no God. They really do.
I'm sure that they do. Now,
constantly asking me about it.
Now, I mentioned that there are a lot of religious figures mentioned on this page, a lot of religious terminology, a lot of Bible verses being referenced here. What I'm not seeing so far are any references to Jesus or to Ash Wednesday or Lent or anything along those lines. Have you found anything along like that at all?
So there is a section that says related celebrations in other religions. There are, in fact, a number of Christian links down here talking about Christianity, the celebration of Easter, and its date in the calendar find its root in the Jewish feast of Passover, when, according to Christian interpretation, Jesus was crucified as the Passover lamb. So we can get to Christianity, we can get to Easter, we can get to its date in the calendar. And there are Passover as a Christian holiday links here. But what we really want, if this is something that is served, is king cake served? I guess it's served at Christmas, she mentioned. It seemed like it was served perhaps at Mardi Gras as well.
So Mardi Gras is the reason I am aware of this.
Gotcha.
And so that's the thing that I would liken it to, or that I relate it to, for sure. That being said, she did say that it was served at a Christmas celebration. So perhaps it is served at all kinds of different Christian holidays, as you mentioned.
Well, so there is at the bottom a link. So they've got the categories, and I know that you hate them, but
I do.
There is a holiday observances and celebrations in the United States category, and in there is a link to Mardi Gras, also to Ash Wednesday, and Clean Monday, which I have never heard of before, but would love to look at. But we can get straight to Mardi Gras from that.
We can. Oh, well, I hate the categories. I really do hate the categories.
Also, we should say that categories as a destination page are often just, here's a list of things, like authors whose first name is John.
Right.
That's not what this is. So this is a section at the bottom of the Wikipedia page that's in purple, and it lists its categories is technically a separate thing within Wikipedia, but this is a grouping of similar type things. So if we click on Mardi Gras, it's not going to take us to a category of things associated with Mardi, it's going to take us to the
Mardi Gras page. Okay, well then I think that is the way to go. I think going to Mardi Gras makes perfect sense in this particular case. I mean, we could go to Christmas, but I feel like the odds are less. I feel like Mardi Gras, this is one of the things that is known is a thing about Mardi Gras. So I think it's going to be on that page.
Indeed. Fat Tuesday it is.
All right. Fat Tuesday. If you didn't know, Mardi Gras means Fat Tuesday. Mardi, of course, is Tuesday in French. Gras, fat.
Fantastic.
So there you go. Fat Tuesday.
And it is a time of great consumption and revelry and partying before you're supposed to give everything up for Lent.
That's right. Right before Ash Wednesday. That's the next day. It's also known as Shrove Tuesday. I'm seeing here. Shrove. So I don't know what that. I don't know what Shrove means, but I'm assuming it might be fat, perhaps, or
well, isn't Shrove like shriven?
Actually, it says here Shrove, which is derived from the word shrive, meaning to administer the sacrament of confession to or to absolve.
Yeah,
that's where you're going with that. So there you go. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
So I Mardi Gras / Fat Tuesday branding wins it for me.
Yeah. There you go.
who's gonna? Hey, you guys want to go to Confession Tuesday?
Yeah, let's do it, man.
Sounds like an amazing party.
Let's go confess.
So there are some delightful pictures, as could be expected for the Mardi Gras Wikipedia page.
There are. This is a surprisingly short page.
Well, there are links to Mardi Gras in the United States, and specifically Mardi Gras in New Orleans.
I see.
So there could be a greater amount of detail there, which is interesting. And that's obviously the Mardi Gras that most of us think of, because unless you live in New Orleans, then Mardi Gras is like, oh, I wish I were in New Orleans today.
Right.
Because God bless Pittsburgh. I've lived here for 10 years, and the most fun Mardi Gras has been like, oh, there's some beads being thrown outside that one restaurant in Market Square, but that's about it.
There's also the Sydney Gay and Lesbian Mardi Gras, which I didn't realize existed in Sydney, Australia. Sounds like a pretty big deal.
It does, in fact. There is a link to costumes, which is interesting. There's also under costumes, which seems curious. There is exposure by women.
Yeah.
Which
I see that.
I'm going to, as well as links to voyeurs and videotapes.
Yeah.
Fun stuff. I will say that the one time I went to New Orleans, Christy and I went down there on a trip to an improv festival, and I did see people fucking on Bourbon Street. Just going at it. And I was like, wow, that is to be young and in love.
Yeah, I guess. So you're right. I see those links to Mardi Gras in the United States and Mardi Gras in New Orleans. Also Mardi Gras in Mobile, which I'm not sure if you mentioned or not.
I did not. And hard pass for me. No offense to any Mobilians who are listening.
Not going to head to Mobile. All right.
I feel like we're good.
I hear you.
I'd much rather go to New Orleans.
Well, I don't see anything else on this page that relates. I mean, obviously, Shrove Tuesday's on here. French is on here. New Orleans itself is on here. But I feel like probably best to go to either Mardi Gras in the United States or Mardi Gras in New Orleans. I didn't realize that this page wasn't going to have all of that on it. But there you go. Mm-hmm. So what are you thinking?
I like Mardi Gras in New Orleans. I quite honestly thought that this section would have been a little bit better, unless we want to peruse that part of the article and see if certain traditions are mentioned here.
Yeah, I've looked a little bit and I don't see, I mean, there are some things mentioned, but I don't see anything about, I mean, I certainly don't see king cake. I don't really see much about eating either. So, you know, I'm not really seeing it. There's a lot of reference to the fact that there's a lot of French influence, but that's about it. So you're saying Mardi Gras in New Orleans?
That's what I like.
All right, let's give it a go. Mardi Gras in New Orleans, which when you click on it is a slightly larger page, at least.
Fantastic. Flambeau carriers, Rex.
Yeah.
Public nudity.
Public nudity?
There you go.
Okay. Well, I see the most common throws are strings of colorful plastic beads, doubloons, decorated plastic throw cups, moon pies.
Moon pies are listed here.
And small, inexpensive toys. Moon pie. You throw moon pies? I didn't realize that.
Presumably still in their plastic wrappings.
Yeah, well, let's not assume things.
No,
when you saw people having sex on the street, I'm not sure we're going to assume that they're keeping the wrappers on the moon pies, are we?
Listen, would you rather have sex on Bourbon Street in public view or eat a moon pie without a wrapper that had landed on a New Orleans street?
The first one for sure.
It is an easy, it's such an easy choice.
Especially knowing that there were those having sex on that same street.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why the moon pies must be wrapped.
I see some information about the traditional colors, green, gold, and purple. I think I mentioned that when we were talking.
Very nice.
I see Epiphany. I see 12th day of Christmastide.
There we go.
Which I didn't even know was a thing. Christmastide.
I see a link from the color section to the heraldic tincture, which is just a great pair of words put together for us all to enjoy.
I agree. There's a Bacchus is linked on here, which is not surprising if you know anything about a Bacchanalia.
Indeed, if you like your, in fact, I love the Roman god of wine finding his way into a Christian celebration.
Yep.
Big fan of that.
For sure. I am now getting down into traditions, and I'm hoping that there's going to be something about a king cake in the traditions. I haven't seen it yet. I see Zulu coconut.
What is Zulu coconut, or who is Zulu coconut?
One of the most famous and most sought after throws is the Zulu coconut, also known as the golden nugget and the Mardi Gras coconut. The coconut is mentioned as far back as 1910, where they were given as a natural, where they were given in a natural hairy state. The coconut was thrown as a cheap alternative, especially in 1910 when the bead throws were made of glass. Oh, wow.
Interesting.
Well, there you go. But here's the thing, Jethro. I'm not seeing anything about a cake, king cake. I don't see anything about that on here.
That is very disappointing.
Yeah.
I would appreciate you reconsidering that position. And talking about something else.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about the weather's been good. The weather's been, it's cold. It's a little cold. It's a little chilly. I'm going to drink a little bit more.
All right. So
this is upsetting. I don't even understand. I mean, maybe this is not so much a Mardi Gras tradition as I was told.
Okay. So let me throw something out at you. And again, it's been a while since I've been a Christian.
I'll throw it.
My understanding of the Easter season, which Fat Tuesday, Ash Wednesday are the beginning of Lent, is that largely focused on Jesus's crucifixion and resurrection.
There's a lot of focus on that. Yeah, definitely.
Okay,
yeah.
Which my understanding is that during that period of his life, he was an adult.
Okay, that's true. So, where are you going with this? I don't.
So perhaps our error.
Yeah.
If in fact a king cake is representing the baby Jesus, that we need a holiday that is more associated with a baby Jesus rather than the adult Jesus.
Well, I totally agree. Like I said, we were introduced to this in a, Fat Tuesday Mardi Gras tradition. And I mean, when we were talking to Mercy, she even mentioned that it was like the colors that there was a king cake. There was a Mardi Gras king cake that was, had the colors of Mardi Gras. So
yes, but we all know that those three colors correspond to a heraldic tincture, as previously mentioned.
Yes. But I just felt like certainly there was going to be a reference on this page. I'm going to say it. I'm shocked.
I appreciate it. And if you need to take a moment, that's fine.
I might
do so.
I might.
But I feel like I've identified the nature of our strategic error in that we've been focusing on holidays that have to do with the adult Christ rather than the infant Christ.
Yeah, okay.
And if we were to find holidays that have to do with the infant Christ, and I believe that some are linked on this page, that we would perhaps increase our chances of finding a cake with a baby Jesus in it rather than a cake with an adult Jesus in it. That's also associated with public nudity.
I understand. And here's my only concern at this point, right, is that we're venturing into the world of we thought that one path was pretty clear, and now all of a sudden it's clearly not, and so we're going to try something different. And we definitely discussed the fact that these cakes can be served at Christmas time. But let me ask you this question. You were a Christian for some time in your life, is that correct?
That is true. For many, many years.
Did you at any point celebrate a Christmas?
Numerous times.
Okay. So during those celebrations, did you at any point consume a king cake?
Never in my life have I ever consumed a king cake.
So here's my concern, is that it potentially exists for Christmas, much as it does for Mardi Gras, but may not be listed as, is not enough of a tradition to be listed on a Wikipedia page, much like it is not listed here. And perhaps the path that we should instead take is the confectionery path.
Okay. So I don't think, as far as confectionaries go, that king cake is a particularly famous one.
But it is a type of cake, and were we to get to a cake page, I do feel like there's a chance that we could get toward it, especially if we got to a bundt cake page.
I think you are wildly off. I would. There are many, many types of bundt cakes. Very few of them have little baby Jesus in them.
Right, which is what makes this one stand out.
So I think that we're so close to the goal, and you're quite frankly, Matt, you're losing faith. And
There's no doubt about that. There's no doubt.
What I ask of you is to have faith in me.
Okay.
And not only faith in me, but faith in the baby Jesus.
Okay.
Who has been delivered to us in cake form many times.
Well, I've thrown out my concern, and if you feel like that is better to still continue down the path towards Christmas, I do know that Christmas Tide, as I mentioned, is linked on this page, which would certainly get us toward Christmas. Was that your plan?
I was going to click on Epiphany.
Oh, Epiphany.
On January 6th.
Okay.
Yes, because that is the 12th day of Christmas.
Sure.
And if my hazy memory of early Christian holidays is correct, which, grain of salt, may not be.
Sure.
But I believe that was the original, like, hey, let's make a big deal out of this day, even before the sort of modern celebration of Christmas on December 25th, which has more to do with trying to get people who are celebrating the winter solstice to come to Christianity rather than the more original day of January 6th.
So Epiphany, I also see 12th night is linked on here, as is 12th day. But you feel Epiphany a better choice than, like, 12th night. Like, it looks like Epiphany, when I mouse over it, is going to talk very specifically about, like, the religious backgrounds. 12th night seems to be talking about the festival that takes place.
But Epiphany talks about the fact that it is a Christian feast day.
No, I agree. I'm not saying that I don't want to go to it. I just want to make sure that we've thought this through, and we don't think that potentially 12th night has a better chance of having a cake.
I mean, come on, Matt. Look at where thinking has gotten us thus far.
True enough.
I feel like what we need to do is not think as much.
Okay.
And just go with our guts.
All right. Epiphany, then it is. And
Epiphany.
I will follow you because you've often been more right than me. So
there we go.
Let's go.
All right, here we are. Epiphany, a holiday, also known as Theophany in the East, is a Christian feast day that celebrates the revelation, theophany of God incarnate as Jesus Christ, sometimes called Three Kings Day. You remember the old song, "We Three Kings of Orient Are"? There we go.
I do remember that old song.
They apparently tried to smoke a rubber cigar. Well, I screwed that one up. And again, I am drinking water tonight.
Yeah.
So
I want to take you down a couple of paragraphs there to the popular Epiphany customs, which include Epiphany singing, chalking the door, having one's house blessed, and consuming Three Kings cake.
Three Kings cake, do you say? Well, that's unfortunate that it's Three Kings cake and not just King's cake.
Well, it's interesting, though, because when you mouse over it, you discover that the king that is being referred to are the three kings, because this is a king cake.
Then why is it called a king cake and not a king's cake?
I don't know, but it's not referring to the Jesus. It's referring to the three kings.
I feel like the only way that we can solve this mystery is to click on it and go further.
I mean, it is definitely the place. It takes us straight to king cake. We are here. We have arrived. I cannot believe that this is the this. I had no idea. I mean, I I didn't know what king referred to in king cake. I
so
assumed...
a king cake, also known as a three. Well, that's the beauty of. So really, it should be a four kings cake.
Yeah,
because you've got the three kings who came to bear gifts to the, the gold, the frankincense, the myrrh, and you've also got the King of Kings, Jesus, who's in the cake. Presumably, he's the one represented as the baby in the cake.
Presumably, yes. Now it says here, the cake is associated in many countries with Epiphany. So had we known that, we probably would have ventured there a little more quickly, huh?
In fact, I feel like we've been given an epiphany of our own.
We certainly have.
We've learned a little bit. I will also say that there is a rather disgusting Southern style gâteau de Roy, which looks to have like gummy bears or something on top of it.
I don't know what that is.
Or
jellied
like candied
fruit, at least. Yeah, candied fruit. Perhaps,
not a big fan of that one.
No. But you notice that at the top, there's a picture. The main picture says part of a Louisiana-style king cake with the baby figurine on top. And you can see, look at the colors of the sprinkles. That's definitely a Mardi Gras thing going on.
I agree.
There. So
I agree. And it's not coming from Baton Rouge.
Right. Exactly.
It's coming from New Orleans.
And it says here, the Three Kings cake is consumed throughout Epiphany Tide until the first day of Lent, Ash Wednesday. So it's eaten all throughout that time. I see in 2009, the New Orleans Pelicans introduced the king cake baby as a seasonal mascot. Mm-hmm. This is what a big deal this is in New Orleans, and yet still on the Mardi Gras page, not listed.
And the New Orleans Zephyrs also played as the baby cakes for a few seasons before relocating.
Oh, and here it is. In the American South, particularly Louisiana and the Gulf Coast region, king cake is associated with Mardi Gras and is served during Carnival and year-round.
I feel like we should look at what links here because we've been lied to.
We have 100%. Oh, Halloween gets us here. Oh, that's shocking. We could have gotten to Halloween almost immediately out of where we were.
I feel like we've done Halloween and you've had your fun. And I'm not going back there after what you and Dave Foreman did.
Fair enough.
And also cake links is here. Why didn't we just go to cake for heaven's sake?
I tried to tell you, but you wouldn't listen. Now, we also know that this is not always reliable. Let's be clear about that.
That is true.
But there are a lot of things that link in here. Mardi Gras not listed as one of them. Fruitcake 12th night. 12th night would have gotten us here as well. So looks like that would have worked out. Moon cake could have got you in here. Churro.
But not moon pie.
Brioche. No, but perhaps moon pie would have gotten us to moon cake and moon cake here, but that would have been an extra step. And hey, who needs extra steps these days? You know what I'm saying?
Not us guys.
Well, this is great. We made it to king cake. It looks delicious. Now I'm hungry, which is probably also part of the fact that I drank this bourbon, but we've made it. And we've made it in 5 links, Jethro. That's how long it took us to get here.
Incredible.
Which is, if you recall, that's somewhere around our average. I think let's take a look at our average right now. For this season, 5.2 is our average, including this week, of course. So that helps it out, I guess, or hurts it. I don't know. But it also is my 7 and your 4 from last week. So, it's a little skewed as far as our data is concerned. But let's talk about what we guessed as far as our predictions were concerned. So what did you put down this week, Jethro?
What did I put down this week? Well, I knew that we were going from a one form of Southern food to what I assumed was another form of Southern food. So I thought it was going to be fairly quick. So I guess 4. What did you guess, Matt?
You're killing me, man. I put 4.
Oh, boy.
Oh, my good Lord.
Oh, boy.
What is wrong with us? I thought the same thing you did. And I thought, this is going to be quick. This is going to be so quick. And now I've backed myself back into this corner. I should just give up. Wait. And we looked at what links here. Oh God, I'm ruined.
You know what, Matt? I'm happy to defer and let you have this one. If you're too frustrated.
No. We're gonna play this out. And you know what? Hey, know what? If I lose, I lose. That's how the game works. I've been called a bad loser in my life by many people, mostly my wife, all the time.
All right.
Wait, did she say bad loser? Or did she say? Anyway, my point of the story is I'm gonna accept it and let's move. Let's try it. Let's see what we can do. Let's see what happens here.
Let's do it.
So let's go back to Brisket. That's where we were.
Brisket.
And let's see. Now we get a little bit of time to look around and pick here. Our little racing starts once we get onto those pages. So let me take a look and see what we've got in here. And this will teach me to go to even let you go to what links here before we have looked to see.
It's a fair point. I shouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
I regret it, and I don't really regret it.
No.
Also.
Well, okay. You don't regret it, but you do regret it.
I do and I don't.
I get it. There's not a whole lot else that I would have taken out of here, I don't think, other than what we did take out.
All right, I got mine.
You have yours, huh?
I'm going pecan.
Oh, are you going to go through pecan?
I am going to go through pecan.
Good for you. I love that. Well, I feel a little dirty about this, but I think I'm gonna gotta go to.
You're gonna gotta.
I'm gonna go to Rosh Hashanah. That's where I'm headed. Is Rosh Hashanah.
Oh, all right then. I got you.
Let's give it a go.
All right, well, let's do it.
All right, Rosh Hashanah it is.
All right, fantastic.
So we are at Rosh Hashanah, and oh boy. Let's see here.
All right, okay. I got one.
Yeah, me too. I'm going to Feast of Epiphany or Epiphany.
Shut your mouth. I'm going to Mississippi River.
Okay. All right, I'm on Epiphany. I'm going to go to King's Cake from here.
All right, King I'm also going to go to King Cake.
From Mississippi River?
All right, I'm going to New Orleans.
Okay. I win. I did it. I won.
Congratulations.
I finally did it.
I'm so very happy for you.
Oh my gosh, I finally won one. Ugh.
I am very happy for you. Bravo.
Jethro, you're so far ahead. Let me tell the good people at home the score right now. Jethro, you have 6 and I have a 2. So let's see. How many episodes we have left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 6 episodes left. So there's a chance. There's still a chance.
Yeah. There's a chance.
There's a chance. I thought last week I thought there was no chance, but there's a chance.
It's just a very small chance.
It's a little tiny chance, but it's still a chance.
You know what? I tell you what.
What's up?
If you're lucky enough to get the baby Jesus in the cake,
that's it.
Then you have the same chance of winning this season.
That's right. That's right. And hey, I'll tell you what, buddy. I think we should be playing now for a king cake.
No.
Oh, come on. Come on.
I don't know.
Come on, you'll love it. It's a keto-friendly king cake.
No, is it just the baby part?
I will get you. I can get you a keto-friendly king cake.
I love that you say I can get you when we both know damn well you mean I can make my wife make you.
That is correct.
And I'm not. The last thing I'm going to do is force the good people at Butter Bakery to provide a cake against their will because you lose a bet.
No, hey, perhaps I will win, and you will provide me with a real king cake.
Listen, I can't force my wife to cook a cake.
I don't need your wife to cook the cake.
You are not going to want to eat it if I make it. I'll tell you that.
Oh my gosh, that's it. We have to bake the other person a cake. It doesn't have to be a king cake. It just has to be. You just have to bake a cake.
You're high out of your
Come on.
I do not want to eat a cake that you bake. I would much rather eat a cake that Butter Bakery.
How dare you, sir? I've prepared plenty of good cakes. Okay, well, you don't have to believe me. And you know what? You'll never know now, because now I'm never going to make you any cake. Boom.
Wow, you've really punished me there.
Ugh.
Well, Matt, however this ends up and whatever the prize ends up being, it's always a delight and a discovery to go from one place to the other. And I thank you, sir.
It is. And I thank you as well. And here's to seeing you again next week.
Cheers.
Hey everybody, thanks so much for joining us for Drunkard's Walk. Once again, a big thank you to Jesse L. Lee for our theme music and Nick Jaramillo for our artwork. A big thank you to you for listening, and a thank you to our guest, Mercy Odhner, for her topic suggestion this week. We really hope you're enjoying listening to Drunkard's Walk, and if you are, you can head over to Patreon, support us there, give us a couple bucks a month, and we'll do even better stuff for you. You can listen to some lost episodes and things that you can't download anymore. Also, you can just leave us a rating or review on iTunes or wherever you're listening to your podcasts. And that always helps us out as well, because then more people might hear about us. And then if they hear about us, they might listen to us. And if they might listen to us, they might love us too. And really, isn't that what this is all about? Getting the love of others that we don't even know? Of course it is. Well, thanks again for listening, everybody, and we'll see you next week.